That's right. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. I'm feeling a hell of a lot better than I have over the last few days. So the first thing I want to do is say thank you to everybody, all the support, all the well wishes, and everything. And thank you for being understanding while I've been sick. I'm still not feeling 100% great, so I'm still not ready to come back to camera, but probably tomorrow. I'm definitely going to be there tonight for the Raw review, the Fastlane review with Joe Cronin tonight on the Joe Cronin Show. Very excited to hit that. You hear the voice still a little bit messed up, but not too bad. So I wanted to go ahead and do viewer questions. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me and everything. I really do appreciate all the good support. You guys are awesome. Been an interesting few days. There's been a lot of stuff going on. So we are going to do viewer questions today. I got a lot of stuff to get to there. But before we do that, let's start with some big Hall of Fame news, shall we? If you do not want to be spoiled, go ahead and skip ahead a little bit because there is spoilers on the Hall of Fame induction class for this year. It looks like the rest of the class is just about rounded out. And some big names. One I agree with, one I do not. So let's go ahead and talk about the one I do not agree with. The Bushwhackers are going in to the Hall of Fame. Okay, look, I loved the Bushwhackers when I was a kid. I really did. I enjoyed them, but this is not the Hall of good gimmicks. This is not the Hall of, ooh, I like these guys. This is not the Hall of that. This is the Hall of Fame. I mean, Jesus, if the Bushwhackers got in, really, who else? I mean, anybody can get in. Anybody who gets a pop from the crowd, but didn't really do much in their careers as far as, title reigns and important matches. I mean, the Bushwhackers, I got nothing. As far as, really important wrestling moments. Hey, and, the arms back and forth and licking heads of the people in the crowds and on the battering ram. I mean, look, at least this does accomplish one thing. It makes Rikishi look a little bit better, I guess, because he's not the worst member of this Hall of Fame class now. It's the Bushwhackers. Luke and Butch, which I don't have a problem with these guys. I like them, just like I like Rikishi. I thought they very nice careers. If there was a Hall of very good, all three belong in it. But Rikishi is clearly more deserving in the Hall of Fame than the Bushwhackers, but really they're kind of in the same gimmick sphere. They did something that was pretty over with the crowd, but nothing real substantial as far as in-ring wrestling career. Nothing that really warrants them going in. No major championship reigns. Huge angles. I mean, it's just very bizarre. I don't understand this move, especially when the Hart Foundation's not in, especially when there's the Freebirds aren't in. There's a lot of tag teams that are not in yet that you could put in, but you put the Bushwhackers. Just where the Steiner brothers aren't in the fucking Hall of Fame, for Christ's sake. So it doesn't make much sense that the Bushwhackers are the ones that go in this year, but, it is what it is. Tell them, Rikishi. I don't know. It's just very strange. So, but here's the one I do agree with, but it's going to be interesting to see how it happens. And that, of course, is Kevin Nash, who, just like last year when it was reported that Scott Hall was going to go in, everyone was like, yeah, Scott Hall's going in. And then it turned out it wasn't Scott Hall. They're inducting him as Reza Ramon. So you have to assume that they're going to do the exact same thing with Kevin Nash, that he's going to go in as Diesel. When you put Diesel and Razor Ramon right next to each other, there's no question who had the better career in the WWE as that character. It's Kevin Nash. 2 or 3 time WWE champion. Kevin Nash did some stuff. He headlined WrestleMania. The headline, not had just a great match like Razor did with Shawn. No, he headlined WrestleMania. Oh no, that match didn't even headline that year, did it? No, it didn't. That was the Lawrence Taylor WrestleMania. He didn't headline. That's right. The inexplicable fucking Lawrence Taylor headline. Ugh. Good God. For all that can be said about that match, I didn't even mind it that much because I liked Bam Bam Bigelow so much. I really did. Uh, so, I don't know. Okay. But Kevin Nash obviously belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm very excited about that. It looks like he will be inducted by Shawn Michaels, which further makes me believe that it will be a Diesel induction and not Kevin Nash. But it all makes sense. It's going to be a good run for him. And now the question is, when does the Click go in? Or when does DX go in? When does the NWO as a group go in? Does X-Pac ever get in? I mean, you have to start asking these questions. Look, I don't think X-Pac belongs in by himself. Just to throw that out there. And he's had a very, very good career. A good wrestling career. He's held many titles, so I don't think he belongs in the Hall of Fame by himself. As a group, sure, he belongs in with the X or the NWO. Really, just how you guys want to look at it. So, what do you think of that? What do you think of Kevin Nash going in? What do you think of the Bushwhackers, Luke and Butch going in? What tag teams would you want to see go in instead of the Bushwhackers? Excuse me. All right, so getting on to one more quick story before we get to the viewer questions this week. Don't forget tonight, pay-per-view, Fastlane, last-minute predictions, anything you guys want to say about it, go ahead and throw it in the comment sections below. If you have any really bold predictions, like really, really bold, not just like, Sting's going to come out, like bold predictions. Oh, The Undertaker's going to come out tonight. I want good, bold predictions. Let's get bold. And if you got some really good ones, I'll read them off. And if anyone's right, I'll give you mad props. So that'll be cool. The other big story that's going on right now is, of course, this mudslinging match between WWE and CM Punk. And to be fair, CM Punk and Colt Cabana have not responded since, at least not publicly yet, about getting sued by the WWE's doctor. This is going to get really ugly, folks. And I find it interesting. The WWE released their evidence, if you want to call it that, and now people are releasing the CM Punk evidence, which, to be fair, actually, the CM Punk stuff was actually released well before WWE released their little video, but people just didn't pick up on it. That picture with CM Punk showing his scar, it's old news. I mean, I think most people have seen that. I am not questioning the fact that he had staph infection. There's no question to me. What I am questioning, and what I think the WWE is ultimately questioning, is the validity of CM Punk's claims of all the things that he's saying about that doctor, because they're saying CM Punk didn't inform them. And that's quite possible. It's quite possible that CM Punk, not known as the greatest communicator in the world, did not inform them to the extent of his issues. There's a very good possibility. Look, here's another thing that kind of furthers that. There is a picture, I think it's doctored though. There is a picture of a big lump on CM Punk's side. Here's the problem with this picture. It's him being locked up by Ryback, and there's a big lump on his side. Here's the problem with it. It looks so photoshopped, and here's the main reason why it does. It's not in the spot that CM Punk says it was in, and it's not in the same spot as the scar. This one's a little bit higher up, and it's on the side. It's not really at the waistline on his back where you can see the scar later on. So I don't buy that picture. I think that was just there to get people going, which it's done. But here's the other thing to it. CM Punk showed the scar, which is below his waistline. So the trunks would have been over this lump. So more than likely, you're not going to be able to see this lump on camera or anything like that. And I think that kind of lends credence to the WWE saying, he didn't tell us because he hid it. He hid it so it couldn't be seen. So, I mean, this is a very confusing thing that's never probably going to get any good resolution to it. I don't see anybody winning any substantial amount of money over this. I see it being settled, the way that it usually does. And I do ultimately seeing this as a way to really possibly open the door to CM Punk and WWE talking again. Here's something that a lot of people are not talking about when they're bringing up this doctor, though. And it is something I would like to bring up real quick. This doctor, I always mess up his name. That's why I've hesitated saying it. Chris Amanon. He is not some bullshit doctor. That's a man. Dr. Chris Amanon. I got a little bit of blurb on him. This is not some bullshit doctor who's done nothing. Let's listen to this guy's resume real quick. Dr. Chris Amanon served the United States Olympics Committee and United States Soccer Women's National Team as their team physician back in 2008. He made his way over to Beijing along with the gold medal winning U.S. women's soccer team, or Beijing, as some people would refer to it probably. He has worked as a team physician for the Ohio State University, and more specifically for the men's football, men's lacrosse, women's soccer, and women's ice hockey teams simultaneously. He also worked with Ohio Wesleyan University and multiple local high schools, giving medical care to student athletes and overseeing the training rooms. He has also provided ringside care for United States Professional Boxing Association and has acted as the team physician for the semi-professional Chicago football team, the Chargers. That is a very, very big resume for a quite young physician, and he's worked in some of the biggest spots in all of sports. I mean, he's been governed by the biggest medical agencies in all the sporting worlds. He's been with the Olympic stuff. He's college football. So this guy has credibility, and he has a reason for taking Punk to court because Punk has defamed that credibility. So I get this. This is not as much of a WWE versus CM Punk thing as it may just be a Chris Amanon versus CM Punk thing. And I think he has every right to do it. Now, because of the type of doctor and the world-renowned doctor that this guy is, WWE has full rights to back this man up. Because not only is his name good for WWE, having him in the WWE and having his full credibility restored and unquestioned only does good things for the WWE and their health program. So, I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship, and it makes a lot of sense for it to be happening the way it is. And CM Punk should have realized this well before he said some of the things he did. And here's another thing, too, that we need, and I'm going to stick up for CM Punk a little bit, which I normally don't do since all of this stuff came out, because I don't feel he came off well during the interview. Here's something else about Punk. He is a tad of an exaggerator. He's a lot like me in a lot of ways. And I get a lot of people from Chicago are kind of like this. We talk in superlatives. You know how many times I say, God, I hate this person, or God, I hate that. I don't really hate. I don't hate Rikishi. I don't hate Kurt Angle. But you use these superlatives, and there are some people who are like that and some people who are not. You think CM Punk actually meant that Ryback took 20 years off of his life? No, of course not. Come on, stop. It's superlatives. It's an exaggeration. It's good storytelling. I get that, and I think most people get that too. However, when you're doing an interview and you are completely taking aim at your former employers that you walked in on or walked out on, you have to be a little bit more careful in some of the shots that you fire, and that's why we're in the situation that we're in. So look, nobody has handled this situation properly with CM Punk. CM Punk didn't handle it right. WWE didn't handle it right. Nobody has handled this correctly. I don't know when it's going to get handled right or if it ever will, but it's quite interesting to say the least, and it makes for good television. So, all right, let's get to the viewer questions, shall we? Excuse me. Blah. Okay, before we get to the actual questiones, let's go ahead and get to something that I covered earlier in the week, the Samoa Joe leaving TNA situation. So I asked you guys, what are some of your favorite Samoa Joe memories, and just some Samoa Joe, comments. So let's start with that. AJ Tucker, he wrote, my favorite Samoa Joe moment or match were his matches with Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles at Unbreakable and Turning Point or Final Destination. Can't remember which. Those were I remember those matches. That was when I was really into TNA. Was back in the day when those three guys were the top guys, and tearing houses down in the X Division, and it was awesome. It was good stuff. Good comment. Mick Mac writes, would love to see Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens down in NXT. Would be an awesome match. At the same time, though, I'm bummed he's leaving TNA. Fair enough. That would be cool. And now that we're getting some older guys like Rhino coming down, I think there is a possibility for Samoa Joe to come to NXT. I didn't think that it was possible, but now I'm thinking there's a very good likelihood that this would appeal to Joe. This would be rather appealing to go work with this young talent, maybe guys that he worked with at the beginnings of their careers down in Ring of Honor. Hell, him and Steen had to have, in fact, I know they have worked together. So, I mean, there's all kinds of interesting possibilities that can come from that. So that'd be fun to see that happen. Stewie B, of course WWE will sign Joe. They are really trying to appease the Samoan community right now. Rikishi in the Hall of Fame, Roman Reigns, Royal Rumble win, and the Usos still having the titles. This would just add to their plans, it seems. I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't know if this is about appeasing the Samoan community because, let's face it, in one form or another, the Samoan community is always well represented within the WWE or in wrestling in general. And it's always there. I just think right now there happens to be three young guys in the WWE who all have the ability to, in their respective divisions or whatever, in their respective roles, be the top guys. I mean, you take the Usos out of the tag team division over the last 3-4 years, and what do you got? It's ugly with them. It's really ugly without them. And as repetitive as the Usos can be, and as not charismatic as they are, they're just not. They're a pretty damn good tag team. They're a pretty damn good tag team. And say what you want about Roman Reigns, the guy still has tremendous upside. He's still young. He's still good looking. He's still very athletic. There is tremendous upside for Roman Reigns. I can't really argue with the Rikishi thing, though, because that just does seem like pandering at this point. But, yeah, it is what it is. Eric Lemon. Favorite Joe moment was his triple threat match between Styles and the Fallen Angel. One of the best three-way matches I've ever seen. I think that might be the same match that what's his name? That AJ Tucker was talking about, too. That was a good match. Good job, Eric. Some good comments on the career of Samoa Joe and where you think they're going. I appreciate that, guys. We only had one person give full result predictions for tonight's Fastlane, and that's P.S. Abel. And I'm going to go ahead and give his predictions right now, his or her predictions right now. Sorry, I don't know if you're a girl or a guy player. P.S. Abel, that's very, could go either way. I don't know. Like my high school math teacher. Go either way. I don't know if my high school math teacher was gay. I'm bisexual. I have no fucking idea. It just sounded like a good line. His predictions. Rusev beats Cena. I don't agree with that. I think Cena will win the title tonight because I think it sets up a better match at WrestleMania. Unless they're going to do like a Cena retirement angle at WrestleMania. Then I could agree with it. Roman beats Bryan. I do agree with that. I think this has been smoke and mirrors. Roman Reigns has always going to been beating Daniel Bryan, but don't be too surprised if Brock Lesnar comes and destroys everybody and eats somebody's heart in the fucking middle of the ring and sets up a triple threat match for tonight or for WrestleMania. I also think, depending on what they do at Randy Orton when he returns, I think because they just did a triple threat main event, there's a possibility of of this still becoming that 4-way that I always thought it was going to be, with Seth Rollins getting in. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but I think it's still possible. Excuse me. Dean Ambrose beats Bad News Barrett for the Intercontinental title. I agree with that. I think Ambrose will win this match. Paige beats Nikki Bella. I agree with that. I'm going to one-up that one just a little bit, and I will say that we will have the return of AJ either tonight or tomorrow at Raw. Goldust beats Stardust. That's an interesting one. Probably. I'm gonna agree with it because obviously that would set up the bigger match at Mania. But it won't be a clean win, I don't think. Or there's going to be some kind of interesting shenanigans, maybe even a Dusty Rhodes heel turn. Dusty Rhodes going evil on his former wayward son, Dustin, and he goes with Cody, and that could be interesting. That could be a way to do something that no one's really expecting. We'll see how that goes. The 6-man tag, he just wrote the Faces. The Faces win the 6 tag. That makes me laugh. The Faces, of course, he's referring to is Dolph Ziggler, Ryback, and Eric Rowan going over Big Show, Kane, and Rollins. I agree with this. And then he one-ups it and says, Randy Orton returns and RKO's Rollins. I agree 100%. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't happen. I hope Orton returns in a different manner because I'd rather see Rollins going after Lesnar. But I think you're 100% right. Randy Orton should be returning, and Rollins should be thrust into that, which is a good spot for him either way for WrestleMania. Him taking on Randy Orton and hopefully going over him is really good for Rollins' career. And I'm happy that this whole nude thing, that his dick pics have kind of gone away at this point. Hopefully that means that his push is not going to be stopped in its tracks because of it. And finally, he's got the Usos beating Kid and Cesaro. I'm actually going the other way on this. I think Kid and Cesaro are going to take the tag team titles off the Usos and have the Usos chase into WrestleMania. I'm thinking that because of the different tag teams that are kind of making their way up right now. I don't see it being just one tag team versus another tag team, that being the Usos versus Kid and Cesaro, or the Usos versus the Ascension. Because the Ascension kind of look like they're about to go into a feud with the Primetime Players, I think this all kind of works to the advantage of Kid and Cesaro taking the belts off of the Usos and setting up a bigger match with possibly all 4 of these teams at WrestleMania. So that's what I think is going to happen there. So there it is. Those are the comments and the predictions. So let's get to the viewer questions, shall we? Victoria Reigns, you get the first question of the day. Hi, Dave. What's your top 5 worst catchphrases ever in pro wrestling? I actually got 6 I kind of sandwiched in here. Does anyone remember when Juventud Guerrera completely ripped off The Rock in the late years of WCW? The Nitro was getting crushed, and Juvi would come out as the Juice, and he would just say, "Can you smell it?" And he would do The Rock's other catchphrase too. He'd be like, "Finally, the Juice has come back to Tijuana." You know, they'd be like, "Can you smell it? The Juice?" It's horrible. It's one of the worst of all times. R-Truth, what's up? I hate what's up. Absolutely hate it. I loved when he was Ron the Truth Killings, and that's the truth. I loved that. He brought that over to WWE for a little bit of a time. I thought that was a much better. I hate what's up. I do. I hate him rapping. Can't stand it. The Miz. I'm the Miz, and I'm awesome. I hate that. Oh, God. It's so annoying. It's horrible. It's just one of those catchphrases that you wish would die a horrible, horrible death. But it never goes away. He brings it out. Hell, it's at the beginning of his friggin' theme music now. It's just horrible. Alberto Del Rio. It's my destiny. Thrust that in there. Thrust C into it because that's really, really bad. I like when he calls people perros. Hey, perro. I love that. But C, and it's my destiny. I hate it. I fucking hate it. His best catchphrase is, my name is Alberto Del Rio, but of course you already knew that. I like that. I enjoyed that. There were aspects of Del Rio I actually enjoyed. As much as I shit on him recently, there were aspects of the guy that I liked. He's boring as hell. That's one of my biggest problems with the douche. They gave him a really crappy gimmick too. I hated the rich guy gimmick. I didn't like it when JBL did it either, because nobody did it as good as the $1 Million Man. Plain and simple. Okay, and the fifth on this list, I'm going to go a slash mark here because there's two, and they're by two of the biggest names in the history of wrestling. There's a John Cena and a Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold's is what? What is the stupidest friggin' catchphrase I've ever heard? It's so dumb. And it's so over. It's just as dumb as yes, by the way, but I actually like yes. Can't tell you why. Why I like yes and why I don't like what, I'll never tell. I can't give you a good reason. Other than I just can't stand what. Other than it was really funny that it made Kurt Angle crazy. That was funny. And, of course, that's tied with John Cena's You Can't See Me. You Can't See Me is just horrendous. I mean, is it any better than, eat your prayers, eat your vitamins, say your prayers and all that, train, all that garbage? No, but there's just something about You Can't See Me that makes me want to punch him in his eye. Right in the eye. Not anywhere else, in the eye, because he's talking about sight. I just want to hurt his. I don't even know why. I'm a vindictive asshole. That's why. So those are my top. You get a little bit of a top 5 action. Now look what I did. Accidental. Thank you, Victoria. As always, great questiones. Jericho's Ambrose writes, here's a question. There we go. If WCW won the Monday Night Wars, where would you see the McMahon family today? That's a really good question. Victoria Reigns last week asked a similar question, but kind of the opposite end of it. With this, I think the difference is, what's your definition of victory? Because had WCW, for a time, WCW was not only winning the Monday Night Wars, they were crushing Raw to the point where they probably should have been completely out of business, but they were able to stay in it. I don't feel that WWE would ever have gone into the same downward spiral as WCW because of the McMahon family, because of what Vince McMahon was, that Rock. So I don't see them making the same mistakes that led to the ultimate demise of WCW. I don't think there was ever going to be a position where WCW could have bought WWE. I feel that at the time, because there was so much want for good wrestling, that if WCW would have been able to stay on its pace, both companies, I think, would have traded victories for a long time and would have helped feeding each other. That's what I think, at least. But I mean, that's just because I can't see a situation in which the WWE would have full-on lost the war. Now, it could have happened. Let's say that it did. Where would the McMahons be? That's a really tough question. I can't see them anywhere but doing wrestling of some kind. So I feel that even if WWE would have went under and maybe Ted Turner would have bought WWE, which seems like such a weird thing to say because it just seems so impossible and so ridiculous, I'd like to think that maybe they'd be owning TNA right now. Maybe they would have started TNA. I have no idea. It's a very difficult question when you think about it, because it just only one of these companies were in the position to be bought and fail the way they did, and it really was WCW. Even in their grandest days, you could tell that there was not a lot of long-term stability there with all the aging talent that was carrying the company, and right from the jump, the unwillingness, it seemed, to skew from the main storylines and develop younger talent. Well, they were developing younger talent. They just weren't giving them a platform to continue to grow. So, I don't know. It's a good question, though, Jericho's Ambrose. Really good question. My man, Logan Barrett. I'm sorry, my voice is too fucked up. I can't do it. If you could have one match with any wrestler of all time, who would it be with, and where would you like the location of the match to be? And would you want it to be a Raw, SmackDown, or a pay-per-view? Thanks as always, Dave. This question should get you thinking. Indeed, it has. I don't think there's any question of where. It would be a pay-per-view, obviously. It would be WrestleMania. There's no question about that. I'm not from New York. I'm from Chicago. I lived in Vegas a long time. So there are two places that I would really like it to be. I bring up New York because I would love to have wrestled. I went to wrestling school for 2 weeks. All-American Wrestling Academy in Las Vegas. Whoop, whoop. 2 weeks, baby. Yay, yay. The interesting thing about it is I would probably pick the Garden, man. Madison Square Garden. I mean, it's the Mecca. It doesn't get any better than that. So WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden, or I would, for me, of equal prestige, especially since the last time that it was there was so horrible, is I would love to headline a WrestleMania in Las Vegas. Since the last time, I believe the last time they were there was like 9. It was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. So I feel Vegas needs a redo. So I would love to headline that one. Now, as far as who, there's only 2 guys that I could see me wanting really to do a match like that. If I was only going to get one match, it would either be Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels, man. And I think just because of the type of wrestler I would have been, the type of wrestler I saw myself as being, Ric Flair would have been a much better matchup for me. But Shawn can make anyone look good, so I would have enjoyed that as well. So that would have been a lot of fun. And I'm thinking that I would ultimately pick Ric Flair in his prime, like 1982 Ric Flair versus me, Dave Danger, WrestleMania 35 Time Machine match, because we get Ric Flair in Time Machine. And Las Vegas, Nevada, headlining WrestleMania. That'd be awesome. That would be my dream. That would be my dream. Damon Crossan. Damon Crossan. I know I always mess up your name. I'm really sorry. Crossan. I have a question for you, and this is the final question of the day. If you could create a storyline between anybody on the current roster, who would it involve, how long would it last for, and what would the main points of the feud be? Okay, this is not the easiest question in the world because there's so many things that I would do. And you limited me because, oh God, I don't see. It's an ambiguous question because anybody, is that like any two, or would it be like a multiple storyline, or could I get like multiple people in there? That would be really, really cool to me. Okay. I would like to book a John Cena storyline. Now, I would like to book him going away. I would like to take over this booking that he's in right now because I really want to take this over because I think I can make it awesome. I would like to continue the John Cena Rusev booking. I would keep it just the way it's going. I would have John Cena take the belt off of Rusev tonight at Fastlane. That's what I would do. And then Rusev just going apeshit and laying Cena out the next night, something to that extent. I mean, decimating him. I mean, really putting it down on him. And basically continuing to do that to him until WrestleMania, where we get a better match out of the two. John Cena losing to Rusev at WrestleMania, losing the belt back to him, and then Rusev continuing to destroy him after and putting him out of action indefinitely. Okay? Then in 6 months, Rusev is going to be in the main title picture. Maybe even a little bit, maybe even as close to a year from now. Maybe next year's WrestleMania, we get the return of John Cena and just thrust him right into either savior of the company or go ahead and let's do the heel turn. This is just one storyline that I would like to take over, and I would kind of mess with it as we went along. But as far as creating a new storyline from scratch, this would be more fun for me. I'm thinking Kevin Owens. I want to take Kevin Owens and I want to bring him up to the main roster, right? The night after WrestleMania, okay? And I would in this scenario, I would have Brock Lesnar not leave the WWE until the night after. I would like to see at WrestleMania this rumor of a almost Money in the Bank type match with the NXT guys, but it would be for the NXT title. I've heard rumors of it. I don't know if it's going to happen. So I want Kevin Owens to win that and basically putting a cap on his dominance in NXT. I want him to walk out on Raw. This is after WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar retains his title at WrestleMania. Beats Roman Reigns, okay? He's going to beat Roman Reigns if Brock Lesnar was staying for one extra night only. I would have him beat Roman Reigns. Anyway, I don't care how. If they want to do it as a screw job to set up an angle for later, I'm fine with that. But it doesn't matter how. Or even Brock Lesnar goes dominant over Reigns, right? The next night, Brock Lesnar's out there talking. He's talking about how he's got nothing left. He has defeated everyone on the roster. There is nobody left for him to conquer. And out comes Kevin Owens holding the NXT title. And he's like, you think you have nobody left? Well, there's a guy right now holding the NXT championship that could beat you, Brock. And I want to see Kevin Owens take the belt off of Brock Lesnar the night after WrestleMania. That's the storyline I would book, and it's complete indulgence out of my part. Because if you've been listening to the show for a while, I've been comparing Brock Lesnar and Kevin Owens quite a bit. I think they're very similar in a lot of ways. They have similar looks, similar attitudes. I like them a lot. And the thing is, Owens is already older. He's like 33 years old. So we got to get him going. What better way? He's already got an amazing friggin' following. And if they have a match either on the pre-show or at WrestleMania proper with these NXT guys and highlighting Kevin Owens, what better way to get him instantly over as one of the top guys on the main roster than having him defeat Brock Lesnar? I just think that would be really cool. And I think it would solve the problem that we're having with Reigns. Now, you could do this even by having Reigns and Bryan in the main event, and you just have Brock beat them both because it's completely reasonable that Brock would be able to do it. And that way you could even set up a longer feud between Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. I think that's not a terrible way to go with it. And then have those guys determine who's going to be taking on Kevin Owens in the future. I think there are so many possibilities of which they could do, and it could be a lot of fun. So I think any of those things would be cool to see. There's so many toys to play with right now in the WWE with all of the talent that they have. And there really is. That's the freaking thing right now is if you look, there is a lot of talent on this roster from NXT and the guys that are on the WWE main roster right now. There are a lot of guys who are super, super talented. So the toys can just be played with. And let's get some good matchups and let's build something amazing after WrestleMania. I'm hoping we get an amazing WrestleMania, but unfortunately, right now my juice for it isn't all that high because of some of the bad booking that we've seen up to this point. But I don't know. Maybe tonight's going to be a turning point. Maybe I'm going to respond differently to The Undertaker's return than I thought I was. maybe this Sting Triple H thing is going to be even more incredible than I'm hoping it's going to be, which I have very high hopes for it to begin with. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be an interesting card. Who's going to open? Is John Cena and Rusev going to open the card the way I think it's going to? Who the hell knows? Is Brock Lesnar going to make an appearance tonight? There's just so many questions. So I think this is a really fun time to be a wrestling fan. I know a lot of people are like, no, it's the worst time. I don't think it is, guys. I think there's so much going on, even with organizations like Lucha Underground. I may not even agree with what Lucha's doing and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about all that. The stuff that's happening, the companies that are in place right now, and the willingness of television companies to bring in wrestling, we're on the verge of a boom. This could be a huge WrestleMania. There's going to be legends going away. We got some legendary Hall of Famers. We have all of this great stuff, all seeming to be making a beeline for WrestleMania, and they're going to explode in a manner. It could be a lot of fun, or it could be a dud. Who knows? It's just one of those weird WrestleManias. So what do you guys think? My voice is done now. I can't talk anymore. So I'm going to save it for tonight. So make sure you check in Joe Cronin Show. It'll be on Spectrum Gaming 617 tonight, directly after Fastlane live. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the pay-per-view tonight. Hit me up on Twitter. I'll be tweeting all day, I'm sure, about wrestling and stuff. Haven't been hitting social media very hard lately. I plan to start doing it again a lot. So hit me up there, guys. We'll see you soon. We will talk to you a little bit later on. Enjoy some wrestling today, and we will see you tonight. Peace.